Sarah, there is a new assassination task force. It's got 11 members. I've talked to David Joyce this week and Michael Waltz this week. Neither of them were very sure that they would be able to report back before the end of the year. What is your reporting on whether or not Democrats are eager to pursue the collapse of security at the Trump event?
You know, there was a lot of bipartisanship around this, a surprising amount in the immediate aftermath. Is that going to start to wane as the campaign gets underway? I think you're already seeing that start to happen. But when we had the Secret Service director come before the House committee the other day, there was a real level of aggression that was shared by both Chairman Comer and by Ranking Member Jamie Raskin. And we're still seeing some of that. I think, though, that you're already seeing these efforts to memory hold the fact that this even happened to Donald Trump. You don't see any circulation of that image of him surviving the assassination attempt anymore. And I do expect the urgency attached to this will fade as the election approaches.
Sarah, did you happen to watch the video of President Trump's appearance at the National Association of Black Journalists?
How could I have missed it? It was must see television.
What did you make of Rachel Scott's opening with 6 charges and a non-question question plus a reference to PolitiFact? Did you think it was a fair and appropriate approach to a man who'd almost been killed 2.5 weeks earlier?
I think it's definitely not surprising in those situations. I think a lot of the journalists often are frankly performing for each other as much as trying to, ask questions of a subject. So much of those types of interviews in front of an audience are performative. They're not about serving the public in terms of getting answers from figures. I mean, that those journalists were under pressure to quote unquote get Trump because of all the backlash over Trump even being there in the first place. So I think the incentives were on the journalists to be overly aggressive in the first place because of the way that organization handled inviting a GOP nominee as if that was some sort of breach of ethics. And, I think maybe the people in the room thought Donald Trump's answer was scandalous. Normal people, I don't think, want to see a journalist go after a candidate that way.
I don't think it's going to hurt him at all. In fact, it might have the opposite impact. Let me turn to polling, Sarah. This morning, the Washington Post has done the first comprehensive survey of post-Joe Biden switch-out polling. Pennsylvania is tied. Wisconsin, Harris is ahead by less than a point. Trump is up 2 in Michigan. Trump is up 4 in Nevada. Trump is up 4 in North Carolina. Trump is up 5 in Arizona and 5 in Georgia. Is this what the Democrats expected? I thought it would be better than this for the new Harris, I think, Shapiro ticket.
I think they thought that too. And keep in mind, this is probably her ceiling. She is the most popular right now that she's probably ever going to be in this race. She's still an unknown quantity. None of her vulnerabilities have really been exposed. The Trump team has just started to define her as someone who has no identity, no positions. She kind of reminds me, I don't know if you remember that John Kerry ad with the windsurfing, and any way the wind blows. And that's the sort of frame the Trump campaign is trying to put on Kamala Harris. I think they'll have some success in that. So this is probably the height of her popularity. And the fact that the race has merely tightened, but Donald Trump still remains ahead, should concern Democrats.
Yeah, let me play for you a greatest hits of Kamala Harris that was dug up by the RNC yesterday from 2017. Here's she talking about illegal immigrants at Christmas time, cut number 18.
And when we all sing happy tunes and sing Merry Christmas and wish each other Merry Christmas, these children are not going to have a Merry Christmas. How dare we speak Merry Christmas? How dare we?
So, how much of that do you think we've got, Sarah Bedford, in the vaults of various Oppo research firms in America?
Oh, I think just reams and reams of that sort of thing. It's, it makes you question a little bit what the Trump campaign has been doing, because the writing has been on the wall since June 27th that this was a likelihood, that we haven't seen more of that deployed in the field more quickly. There's still 96 days left, so there's time to get that out there. But I think the Trump campaign's mission right now is to define Kamala Harris as that radical leftist with no core identity before Harris can define herself as a cool, hip moderate, which is what she's going for right now.
You know, they're going to have a convention. The race starts on August 23rd, in my view, Sarah, because until then, we're going to have the Democratic convention and the Olympics, et cetera. But I want to close. I think Josh Shapiro is by far their strongest candidate for her running mate. Do you expect the governor of Pennsylvania to be her running mate?
I think the smart money is definitely on Governor Josh Shapiro. Pennsylvania is so important. It's got those 19 electoral votes. He's someone who can help temper her position on Israel, which is not palatable to a lot of voters. I would throw Senator Mark Kelly in there as someone who is also a serious contender just because Arizona also a key state. We'll know in a matter of days.